Good evening, my fellow OLEians. Last week, I was informed that Philadelphia, the Eagles organization, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Liberty Bell, the Rocky statue, and Gritty were all offended by my words. In the future, I need to be careful of what I do and what I don't do. I get in trouble every time I seem to do something gratuitously. Therefore, the following is the level of professionalism I will live up to. From the hours of 9 to 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I will only refer to Philly as smelly, bothersome, and mildly concerning. I will, however, never use the words dickheads, jackass, and idiots, or any words of any sexual nature referring to Philly, mainly because anyone who thinks that anyone from Philly is hot is wrong. From 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I will only refer to Philly as sucky, annoying, and generally putrid. I will reiterate that I will never use any words of a sexual nature referring to people from Philly because, ew. I will have less references to their enormous egos. On a final note, even though many of you believe that the current favorite pastime of Philadelphia is riding in the streets and showing America why they suck, you are correct. Go to hell, Philly. You suck.
And on that note, welcome to your favorite Sunday sports stream Point of View. I'm Bobby Munson. Beside me, Mark, and below us, the apology man himself, Andre C. Gentlemen, how are you doing this Sunday after the apology speech?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. It's a good morning. It's a good day. I'm happy. Yeah, this is my I had to apologize to Philly.
I'm
The
literally
apology's been done.
Oh, I'm crying.
I don't know if we have anybody from Philly watching, but if you're watching in the chat, how did you feel about Andre's apology speech? Did you
Even if you're not in
accept his
chat,
apology?
this needs to be changed into a short. That needs to be done in a short and be released to the world. Just by that, just to see if we get Philly fans in any of the comments. That was phenomenal. That was people at home may not know this, but Andre sent me this last night. What he was going to write, he actually printed it out as well. He sent it to me last night, and I read it, and I wet myself from laughter about 3 times because I thought it was brilliant. But then what you don't get when you're reading it is how Andre's going to say it. He nailed it. Absolutely nailed that. Oh my God. You could see by my face. I really, the thing, right? So if you bit behind the scenes here, if you're on StreamYard and you forcibly mute your mic, if you say something into a microphone, it comes up with your mic is muted, right? You guys can't see that, only we can see it behind the. It popped up about 6 times. My mic is muted to tell me that my laughing was so loud that it needs to unmute my mic. And oh my God, it was Andre, take a bow, son. That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal.
That was good. We can also take a bow because Bobby Stats is up in the house here today. I think this one's probably even more so directed at you, Andre. There, Sayuri is defending the IWGP Women's Championship against Alex Windsor at Pro Wrestling Eve on June 6th. I think that's
Mrs. Ospreay. Let's go. And
big
Mark,
matchup.
You could go to that. You could go to that.
No, because Will Ospreay's there. I'd rather shoot my dick off.
Yeah, but it's Suri, man. SCG, you got here too late.
Bad.
You have to go back.
SCG,
You have to go back to the beginning.
Go back now. Go back now. for the love of God, go to the beginning, watch it, and then come back. We're not going to do anything until you've rewatched it and come back into it. All right, we're not doing nothing.
We're just gonna sit here and protest. Yeah,
Yeah.
You can
We're
have
not going
us
to do
live
anything.
on one. You can have us live on one, and then having the YouTube play on his phone or something.
Actually, while STG does that, Bobby, thank you for liking the video. If anybody is watching along, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're watching on replay, do the same as well, too. And keep our watch hours up. Watching along on YouTube, following along anytime you can is only going to help us. We are actually, I think just barely over 100 watch hours away from hitting that first level of monetization. So with your very help, we can achieve those goals here at our local establishment. Andre had a prepared speech and all. He did.
No. The next question, she didn't.
It sounds like Peggy put you up to this. No. We put him up.
No. It was Philadelphia, the Eagles organization, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Liberty Bell, the Rocky Statue, and Gritty. They're the ones who forced me into this.
Yeah. When I read that and I saw Gritty at the end, made me laugh the first time harder than probably what it should have. When I saw that the first time, I went, "This is phenomenal." It's been we're getting a running commentary right now from STG.
Yeah,
and this is amazing.
You can tell he's listened and rewound at this point.
I have, when he gets back, I have a topic of conversation that's been hitting the internet this week, and I want to have it on this show here today. And it's sports related. We're going to turn it into sports related stuff. Okay. So at the moment, there's a thing going around. There was an AI image of 100 men versus a gorilla. And the topic of conversation was who would win, the gorilla or 100 men? Now, there is a lot of ways we could do this and do all of that, but I'm going to twist the question into a sports-related question. Okay? First off, I want each of us to name who would be the worst sport to have 100 men to go up against a gorilla. And I want who would have the best 100 men from that sport going up against a gorilla. 69.
I already have my answers. Answers.
Yeah, I think I
hold on.
Too.
I think I have mine as well, but this also goes out to the chat as well. So, and also, I'm not putting wrestling in it because, so it's anything but wrestling to a certain point. Right, let's go with first. The worst. Let's go top 3 worst sports.
No, not top 3. Just each pick one.
Is everyone comfortable with just doing one then?
Yeah, let's just do one. Yeah.
Let's do one then. Okay, so which one would you say is the worst? Bobby, to you first.
Horse racing. Those jockeys don't stand a chance.
I didn't even think of them. Such a good shout. Oh, I didn't think of. Go on then, Andre.
I thought mine was good, but shit, you got that. I think he just won the worst. I was gonna say people who play water polo team.
That was the other one that crossed my mind actually too.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, this one I like. This one. There we go.
Yes. Okay. There's another one that I was thinking of as well. Curling.
Fair.
Fair. No, curlers are badass.
No, they're not.
Like me, 'cause I curl.
They throw a thing and then they sweep, like going down your kitchen trying to sweep up all the shit you made. It's not. I would. Okay, so debatable on curler. Yeah. Okay, so it's between. Why dissing the water polo? That is a great way of. Okay, so we've got darts, water polo, curling. What else was the other one? Did I see in here? Horse racing. Oh, yeah. Okay, then. So we all have to be unanimous in the decision. Who wins? Who's the worst out of those 4? I want the chat to say first between darts, horse racing, curling. What the fuck was the other one? Water polo.
Well, yeah.
Water polos have crazy cardio, though. Yes, because they all have 102 different. Okay.
Well, and SDG.
Yeah, I guess darts.
But then you can make the argument about bowling. I mean, are we taking their weapons away? Like, are darts players getting their darts? Because they can throw, they can throw things quite accurately. Let's make this argument. So even if they made some makeshift spears or something like that, they've got accuracy. Bowlers, I mean, you could make the same complaint about them being out of shape, whatever kind of thing, but they're very accurate with rolling a ball. What if they took a freaking rock? I mean, they're going to take down a gorilla with a rock. On the other hand, jockeys, they're just these great, wonderful little people that get up on the horses and they give them a good old smack and get them going around the track. But if you take them away from the horse element and put them on their own, 100 of them, it's just not enough. It's not enough.
And I think the height. I think you've won it with height as well. I think you've won it with height. I think Bobby's right with this one. I'm going to go with Bobby on this one. I think it's jockeys. That's a good shout. I didn't really...
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, so the next one is strongest. Who would be the best sports group? I think I know this, but I'm going to see what other people think as well. Who do we think is going to have 100 of people in that sport would be able to fight a gorilla? Andre, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, the answer is Scott Steiner, but we already saw that. For me,
this maths would confuse a gorilla on its own.
Have you seen his tweet about it? Using Scott Steiner math, how he would defeat the gorilla? Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It's genius. But I'm gonna say the caber toss guys, because they can just yeet the gorilla.
Okay, so are we going with the fact here that we're going to pick a sport and they're going to use that weapons in it? Because for me, I'm picking the sport where they use their fists.
He's saying that they can toss the gorilla, so they're used to tossing big logs. They pick the gorilla up and they're just gonna whip them.
Then they're just throwing the gorilla between them, and he's got a point. And like eventually, every now and again, they drop the gorilla and then they pick it again and keep throwing. And
I would have put NFL as one of the worst. Have you seen half of them people in there? They would have no chance.
They get tired out.
They have to do 5 minutes, have about a 20-minute break of an advert.
They need a timeout, a flag. They need a timeout, a flag on the play, a referee's VAR decision.
They need a flag when the gorilla goes off, when he charges first. No, flag, 10 yards, get back. Don't do that again.
Imagine Pat McAfee versus a gorilla. Like, come on. That would never happen. Come on.
Okay, so I'm good. I think it's rugby. I
Bingo.
think it's rugby.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Yeah. I was going rugby, 100%.
They wear no pads.
Built.
They are fucking massive. If you get some of the big scrum halves in the world and the strongest scrum halves in the world, they will outpower that gorilla, I think. And 100 of them, I think that rugby, because I can see where SCG's going with shooters and archery. Yes, but they can't use the weapons. This is hand-to-hand combat, right? UFC, they'll tap out after 2 minutes. WWE or any type of wrestling, they can't do their Will Ospreay's fucked because he can't flip for about 20 minutes, so he can't. So they can't have all that flippy shit. And then you got Gunther, who could probably go up against him, but then chop him, and then the gorilla will go, all right. You got Brock Lesnar that'll try to F5 him, but then eat his head off as he picked him up. Goldberg will try and kill him like he did Bret Hart. So you can't go with wrestlers.
Scott Steiner will win.
Yes, Scott Steiner's the only, but you need 100 Scott Steiners, and unfortunately, on this earth,
you need one Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner and 99 other jabronis, the gorilla will lose because Scott Steiner will win.
You don't need 100 Scott Steiners. You need 33 1/3%.
Oh, that was good. That was a good.
Almost made me spit out my yogurt, dude. Jesus.
There would have been our viral moment of the day. Andre spits yogurt on the screen.
So he's already done his DX speech, which is going to be a short and be put online so that all of Philadelphia can see this as a short. And now he's nearly just spat his yogurt over the screen. He's had 2 short viral moments in the space of 14 minutes of us being live. So
and we haven't even actually talked about the courts of the week yet.
Peggy, I know you got here late. Go back to the start of this video. Watch my speech. You're going to feel so loved by it as a fan of the Eagles.
Actually, we do want to see.
You'll never return back to the show again after what you said.
Yeah, we need Peggy's reaction to the speech.
She said we were fighting, yet we were hanging out last night. So I don't know.
She went back.
Oh, here we go.
We're gonna get feedback now.
Andre's in trouble after the show. Step into my office because you're fucking fired.
I hate you.
She's leaving. She's leaving, so whatever. I go live on Ed's end back on the other end of Canada. So.
No, it was this thing I saw online, and I thought it'd be quite fun to put on the show as a viral moment this week of 100 gorillas versus 100 gorillas versus one man. That man is fucked.
No. If it's Scott Steiner will be okay.
Okay, so all right, let's do this. 100 gorillas versus one man, right? I want you guys, not who would be good, who would you sacrifice?
Oh, Logan Paul.
There are worse people out there, but okay, let's go for it. Bobby?
He's just the first one that came to mind.
Can I just lump like all politicians into one blanket and just toss them to the gorilla as a burrito?
Depends on the politician, though. There's some good
Pretty
ones.
much all of them. Pretty much all of them.
So Bobby
Kim
Stats is going for
Kardashian.
ones that he wants the people to actually win. He wants Uber Femi to try.
I think Bobby misunderstood the question.
Peggy's won. I was going to go with Donald Trump, but she's won it. She fully won that. Or Putin. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah.
Or Mark Carney, but let's not get into that.
He was better out of the other choice. He really was.
I don't know, really.
Beg to differ.
Really was.
All this bad.
But we're not going to get into that on our sports stream here today.
No, we've got lots of sports to talk. We've got a lot of football. Bobby's going to have an he's had a field day this week on Thursday. Yeah, the little happy dancey dance on Thursday. So we'll talk about that.
I think I've given up on the Premier League. I just why even watch the Premier League matches at this point? There's no point. We just lose those. We just lost again today. Another 2-0 loss. But yet somehow, as soon as you put a piece of gold on the line that we can actually win, suddenly we come to life and we look like a real team. It's it's amazing. I mean, we demolished on our way to the final in Europa of all things, and we have a chance at Champions League next year, despite the fact that Arsene Wenger has now stepped up and said, no, this is so unfair that either Tottenham or Manchester United are going to get into the Champions League next year because they're the bottom of the table. Well, sorry, Mr. Wenger. I know that your 90-year-old ass seems to have a problem with this, but this is unfortunately the way it works in football. And one of those teams is getting their asses in there. And on top of it, it now means, what's that, Mark? How many teams get into the Champions League next year, no matter what?
So I have a video. I have video. Thank you, Bobby, for setting that out. So last night on Match of the Day, I saw this. I don't know if you guys don't know what Match of the Day is. Match of the Day is the biggest institution of football in the UK and Europe on BBC. It has been here for 75 plus years on BBC, where it recaps all the games on a Saturday and on a Friday. It does like a highlight show showing everything that's happened. Last night on that show, it did what the ramifications are for the Premier League this season. And I wanted to show you guys, so you guys it's a little bit confusing. If you're watching this at home and you get a little bit confused about what's going on, then please pause the video and recap it over and over again as much as you want. But this is the video that Gary Lineker from Match of the Day, the presenter, wanted to show as the ramifications for what could be happening to the end of the season.
The top 5 earn a place in the Champions League. The winner of the Europa League final between Manchester United and Tottenham will also qualify. The 2 Europa League places go to 6th place and the FA Cup winners. But if Manchester City win the FA Cup and finish in the top 6, then the team in 7th will take the Europa League spot. If Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, they'll be in the Europa League. The Conference League spot is held by Newcastle for winning the League Cup, but if Eddie Howe's team finish in the top 6, the Conference League place goes to the highest placed team that hasn't reached Europe, which could be one of 4 teams chasing 8th if Manchester City win the FA Cup. If Chelsea finish outside the top 6 and win the Conference League, there'll be 3 Europa League places and no Conference League slot.
Yeah, have fun with that. It's a little bit. It's a little. If you look at the table, it gets more and more a little bit easier to look at it. But if we look at today's results as well, with Manchester United losing 2-0 to West Ham of all teams who haven't had a good run of form, and Spurs also losing 2-0 to Crystal Palace at home. And the two Europa League finals have lost. What was it? 3 days after gaining a Europa League final. And Crystal Palace, who are going into the FA Cup final, which will be next weekend, who will be facing Manchester City, who drew yesterday against Southampton 0-0, which means with Southampton picking up that 1 point, they now will not hold the record amount of lowest points in Premier League history. That will stay with Derby County on there. If we go for another little bit of a recap here on the Premier League, just quickly before we go on to a lot of other stuff in European football, moving on as well. With the Premier League at the moment, with Arsenal and Liverpool going to be playing each other later on today, about to kick off, I think, in about 20 minutes from that. Currently, Arsenal are second with 67 points after Liverpool have been crowned champions. Newcastle are now third with 66 points. Manchester City on 65 points in fourth. Chelsea in fifth on 63 points. Aston Villa on 63 points, who are sixth. Nottingham Forest are on 61, which will be 62 now because they just drew with Leicester 2-2 just as we were coming live on air here. And the teams that are currently fighting for the potential, as we saw at the end, the 8th place in the league, that you could also get Europa Conference League, are Brentford, Brighton, Fulham and Bournemouth, all fighting. But if Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, then they will be in Europe next season. It was normally 4 teams, but now because of the new way UEFA are doing the Champions League, nations will get points for how far they get in tournaments. And because the English clubs have done better than anywhere throughout the world, we get a reward by getting an extra position in Europe. But Bobby, you were saying overall you won 4-1 on the night against Atletico Bilbao, which resulted in you winning 7-1 overall on aggregate, with Mason Mount nearly scoring from the halfway line. I want to get your overall reaction. Ignore the league.
Yeah.
This is a question that I've seen Man United fans toying about. If they lose this final and Tottenham wins, you've now given a title to Tottenham when it's more fun and games, telling them that they never won a trophy. Also, if you win it, is it a successful season?
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a huge moment, and getting Champions League, fantastic. But we're not ready for the Champions League, regardless. Neither is Tottenham, for that matter. Like, don't get me wrong. I get where Arsene Wenger is coming from. Like, these two teams do not deserve to be anywhere near where they're at right now for this. And that's coming from someone who is a diehard Manchester United fan. We have not played up to par. Some of our biggest mistakes. It wasn't a mistake bringing in Ruben Amorim. It's a mistake doing it when we did. We did it at a time when it was partway through the season. We drop one manager, bring in another one, expect him to change the style, which he did, but then you expect players who haven't played said style to adapt to said style and produce results already. It hasn't happened exactly the magical way that they were hoping it would, but if you take a look at it analytically, you've seen a lot of promise coming out of a lot of youth players. We've seen a rise out of people that as Manchester United fans, we were willing to drop, like Mason Mount, Harry Maguire, players like that we were ready to sell off and have go away entirely if suddenly become great. I think that Bruno Fernandes has become a better leader under Amorim.
Much better.
At this point. And I think that Amorim's the right guy to iron out the problems, find out where he's got players that still aren't cutting it in those positions while also adapting youth. I think that given the fact that they could probably offload some players this summer, they'll be able to bring in a few players for the right positions. And I'm not saying we're going to turn it around and win the league next year, but I don't think we're going to be struggling down at the bottom of the table either.
I think we had this discussion. I think when Almiron me and you had that episode where I went through his tactics, and I think I said to you, this Man United will not change straight away. I say, because you haven't got the players. One, they did this the wrong time and should never have given an extension to Eric Ten Hag for. I know he won the FA Cup in the end, but he should never have been given an extension. Just by you could tell by the players that they just weren't feeling Eric Ten Hag at all, and then he makes the mistake of having the bust up with Jadon Sancho, plus signing Anthony for that amount of money when nowhere near should have been. But it's quite funny when we talk about Man United because Rashford is out injured, could potentially be back at the end of the season for Aston Villa. Might not be. Unai Emery is still undecided whether to trigger the option of the £30 million, which they will pay to Man United for Rashford. Same goes with Chelsea. They're undecided whether to pay. I think it's around about 20 to 30 million that they will have to pay to Man United for Jadon Sancho. And then you've also got Real Betis, who we'll talk about now, who went to extra time against former Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea's Fiorentina, with Anthony scoring 2. He scored a free kick, and I think he set up a goal as well in that game, or scored another goal as well. Anthony, I've said this before, if you play it in the right position, in the right league, he is a quality player. The issue with Man United is the way Ten Hag tried to play cannot play with the Anthony style. Right? He's not a sit back and attack. He's very much up on the top of the other end of the pitch, do something, try and get a goal or create something. With under Almiron, that's not a position for him. So with him going out on loan is the right thing to do. But he will be going into the final of the UEFA Conference League because of the fact that they won in extra time, scoring in the 90 something minute in extra time to get through. And they will be playing Chelsea. Fun fact, I said this last week and I'll say it again. If Real Betis beat Chelsea and Anthony wins a trophy and Manchester United win the Europa League, then Anthony will be getting a Europa League medal and a UEFA Conference League medal in the same season because he played the certain amount of matches you need to have in the Europa League to gain that if you move another place as well. But I want to talk about quickly before we move on to other action that's been happening in the football is that there was the incredible Champions League that's happened this week. Real Madrid and Arsenal, who beat Real Madrid last time, faced PSG, who are hot favourites to win the Champions League after the first leg going 1-0 down. And they had all of the ball in that first half and could do fuck all with it. And then PSG beat them 2-1. But if you can, and if you're living anywhere, go online and please watch the highlights between Inter Milan versus Barcelona. Barcelona were in control of this tie. It was 3-3 in the first leg. Then they went to Inter Milan. If you don't know Inter Milan, they share a stadium with AC Milan called the San Siro, which is one of the most historic stadiums in the world of football and one of the most beautiful stadiums in the world of football. And Inter Milan fought back to win 4-3 in extra time and send themselves through. So Inter Milan versus PSG. And if you don't know, it's very rare to get to a couple of finals if you've lost. But Inter Milan will be making their second final in 3 years, where they lost last time to Manchester City. They will now be going up against the hot favourites in Inter Milan in PSG, who are very much on form with Luis Enrique side as well. But we've got English football roundup with the playoffs happening in a second as well. And there's been a statement made about Reading Football Club that I just wanted to read out and give my opinion on that. But back to you before I stop waffling on anymore.
Yeah, well, I was just going to make a comment that now that's 2 opportunities Sir Jim Ratcliffe has for shining up trophy gold at the 2 clubs that he owns. But no, give us the update on Reading, and then we can get to some hockey and some of that kind of stuff that I know people
absolutely. So the playoffs have started in the English Football League. So these are the teams that will be fighting for promotion. In the Championship, Sheffield United went away to Bristol City and beat them 3-0. Very controversial penalty happened in the first half and a red card that put Bristol City down to 10 men, which, by the way, wasn't a red card. Go and check that out. Sunderland went all the way to Coventry and beat Frank Lampard's Coventry 2-1, which will mean that Coventry have to go to Sunderland to get at least 2 goals without Sunderland scoring to go through, and Bristol City have to score 4 or score 3 to send it to extra time and get to penalties without Sheffield United scoring. In League One, Leyton Orient faced Stockport. Leyton Orient was the team that finished above Reading. We were fighting them on the final day of the season. They're facing Stockport yesterday, and they drew 2-2. Wickham and Charlton will be playing later on tonight for their first round of their leg. League 2 action is also happening as well. We're trying to get into League 1. Wimbledon faced Notts County, and Wimbledon went 1-0 up. Currently, Walsall are playing Chesterfield right now, and Walsall at half-time are 2-0 up. With the Reading statement as well, this was what the EFL have posted online the other day with my reaction to it. With the proposed sale progressing towards completion, the league has extended the time frame for Mr. Dai Youngie to divert his interest in Reading FC until 5 p.m. on Monday, the 12th of May, 2025. As communicated earlier this week, a sale of the club has been agreed in principle with Redwood Holdings Limited. Basically means Dai Young needs to sort his shit out and send it over to the new owners to get it done, which means at the moment he's being a fanny and he's slowly doing all over it. At the moment, he's just slow it, and he's really what he wants is if you wait until the end of the playoffs are done and everything, and you know who's been promoted, the prize, the competition prize award gets distributed to all of the teams. And what he's trying to do is hold on to this sale as long as he can, so he can pocket that money. That's my honest opinion. That's not fact. That's my honest opinion from that. But hopefully tomorrow, 5 p.m. UK time, which should be noon Eastern, we will find out then what is going on. But yes, that's all the football highlights and everything round up. Next week we will be chatting about the end of the playoffs, who will be in the finals, and the Premier League coming soon and to the end. And Andre, yes. You're muted.
Yeah,
No,
sorry. I have a question about
Go for it.
football. Can you just give me a quick explanation on how it works? It's like I looked at it, there's first leg, a second leg, and then the finals.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're the same team in both legs.
Yeah. So what happens is in the playoff semi-finals, you will play the same team twice. Once you play them twice, whoever has the better scoring record out of both games. So let's say Mark versus Andre is the first leg of the playoff semi-final. Okay. I have to play you twice. If I win the first leg 3-0, I win the second leg 1-0, I win 4-0 overall, and I will progress to the final. I will then face Bobby in a one-match match, and whoever wins that match gets promoted.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if it was like a bet 3 or because the way the graphic shows, it looks like it's 3 games. But then I read it, it's like, okay, that makes more sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. It sort of calculates the score. So if you're 3-0 down, like let's say Bristol City are 3-0 down against Sheffield United, hard done by, but they're 3-0 down. If they go to Sheffield United and beat them 3-0, it will then go into extra time and penalties. If there's no goals in extra time, it will go to a penalty shootout. And the winner of that penalty shootout will then progress to the final.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
How not to overcomplicate playoffs, America, North America. How to not overcomplicate them.
Best of 7. It's as simple. Best of 7.
No, because we don't have that much time. Best of 7. You need like a week gap between them. It takes 7 weeks. We're not doing that shit. We've already played 48 bloody times. We're not doing any more. And we don't have
players that run the pitch. You're talking about players that run the pitch for a minimum of 90 minutes if you don't include two overtime halves plus penalty shootouts plus internationals and all that. These guys are bagged, man. Best of 7, you'd be murdering these.
So if you play in the football league, you average around about 60 games a season. If you're a good club in the EFL, you average around 60 games a season, which will mean that you will play 42. I think we play 42 league games. You will then play FA Cup games, Carabao Cup games. If you're lower in the divisions, you will play another cup as well. You will also have your international duties where you can go off and play for your country on that as well. And then sometimes as well in June, they will be international tournaments or international breaks where you will only have a holiday with your family for about a week and then jet off somewhere and go and play football again And this is a big talking point in
preseason
football right
tours
now.
and stuff.
Yeah, there's a big talking point in football about running players through the mud. It used to be you finished football in the May, beginning of June. You didn't come back to training till July, till the beginning of July. You started the season in August. So you had a month's break where you would go off with family. You would do whatever you need to do to go and do that. But
nowadays, they don't even get time to
moment.
train their players, right? Like, it's like a lot of the time, it's like these guys are off on international duty, and clubs don't have a chance to bring the players together to create a foundation of what they want to do for the season. So if you have a new manager come in, you have new players come in, they don't have an opportunity to work together before it's like, okay, here you are, throw to the wolves, start of the season, let's see what happens.
Yeah, very much so. And it's getting a little bit like Bobby was saying about his manager, right? His manager turned up during an international break where he only had a select amount of players that would be there, which means that all of the players that come back off the international break won't have understood what he wants from them. But then when they come back, they need rest days between matches. And when you play, like in the Football League, it's really difficult to bring a new manager in because you try and do it when just before a summer break. Before not a summer break, before an international break, because 90% of the clubs in the EFL won't have players go on international duty. So what they do is they do it just before the international break, get the manager in as quickly as they can. So during that international week, 2 week spell of not really playing league fixtures, you can go hammer on the new tactic that this manager wants. But if you're in the Premier League, it's a lot harder. Look at the Tottenham won't do it until the end of the season, I don't think, because they won't. You've also got Man United who did the wrong decision. I think West Ham made the wrong decision of how late they sacked Lopetegui and brought Potter in. Potter winning here and there, but I think Potter's a lot better manager than the results are showing. It's just one of those things where when you're lower down the leagues, you have to really strategize when you're going to sack your manager to when you bring one in. And you don't do what the NFL does. When you sack a manager during it, you put a caretaker till the end of the season or doing that. It's rare that happens. You have to get someone in now because the fans won't enjoy that. That means you're not dealing with now. You're dealing with the future. The fans want now in the EFL.
That's where United went wrong, is because they could have left Distelroy in as interim because he would have been just fine. He couldn't have done any worse. Put it this way.
No.
He couldn't have screwed things up any worse than what they have been there as is. And Amarim was still willing to come at the end of the season. They could have held out for Amarim's. They could have got Amarim's signature for starting this summer, had Nistelrooy filled in as interim till the end. I think fans would have been fine with it. But it is what it is. Whatever. We got Amarim. That's again, they're going to believe in Amarim. They're going to fall. They're going to go with them. I'm happy. Change it up. Better season next season.
Yeah.
Anyway,
before we go into
the whole
NHL,
show, almost all footy.
Before we go into NHL, I just want to do one quick NFL thing as well. I want to say good luck to Derek Carr, who has announced his retirement from the NFL after 11 seasons. Had a good career, not amazing, not great, but he had a great career. He played for the Browns. Was it the Browns? He started for somewhere. He was at New Orleans, he finished his career at New Orleans. And so good luck to him. And now I'll get the playoffs up for you both because this is when I get confused. So hold on, give me a minute.
I still remember last week talking about the playoffs and how nobody believed the Winnipeg was going to go through. Not a chance. Or no, that was 2 weeks ago. But still, Winnipeg's still in this thing.
The hell, Mark already had it up. Why is Mark still?
No, I was putting it up.
That's
what she said.
Yeah, but I got it up too.
See, look at that. We're going to end up with an all-Canadian Western final.
That's what she said.
No, we're going to end up Dallas versus Edmonton and
yeah.
Florida versus Carolina.
Remember when you bet against Winnipeg last time? Don't count your chickens.
It's interesting.
It's Winnipeg,
right?
Edmonton.
In my mind, right? In my mind, Dallas should beat Winnipeg, right? In my mind, because I'm going NFL, right? In my mind, I'm going with other sports because I know nothing about the NHL. So this is where I'm going. So I think Dallas should beat Winnipeg just because of the history and the money that pumps into that place. But at the same time, I quite want Winnipeg to win because I don't like Dallas. Vegas losing to Edmonton, but didn't Vegas already win the Stanley Cup in like their first season of being in like a franchise or something? Or they got to the Stanley Cup? I can't remember, but I think they were
made
around
it there.
there.
I don't think they won it. I don't think they won it. I think they made it.
They won it 2 years ago. They made it to the finals in the first year, but they won it a couple years back.
Okay, that's fine. So then I still think Toronto's going to win. I'm still sticking with Toronto.
Toronto's shocking the hell out of me. I don't want to bet against them after I seen that they're like, I thought Florida was going to whitewash them. I thought it was going to be a 4-0 series. And the fact that it's 2-1 for Toronto, I'm not betting against them.
Most Canadians want Toronto to lose except Toronto. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with STG's statement. I don't know if I were betting that I would bet against them right now, because every single year we've gotten so accustomed to Toronto blowing it in the first round, and they didn't. And then we see them come up against last year's champions and expect them to blow it, and they haven't yet. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, but they are playing really well. They are. That's the scary part. I mean, I'd rather a Canadian team win than an American team. But
I would love for a Canadian team to win that isn't Toronto.
Okay, so I got a question here, right? Because we had this big discussion last time about supporting teams and stuff like that, right? And this is the topic of conversation that's been happening this week because of Champions League football. Like, there are English clubs that don't want other English clubs to win the Champions League or to win a European competition. But for me, I like seeing English clubs in the finals of major tournaments, especially when we kept getting told that Spain was better, and fuck Spanish clubs. So to me, right, I want to see Toronto. I want to see the best teams in the country or in the league face each other in the final. I think that should be the way it goes, right? So Toronto was the number one overall, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the number one overall in the West?
I don't know. Yeah, it might have been Winnipeg.
So what I want to see in the final then.
Yeah, see, look,
so that if Winnipeg were number one overall in that one, wouldn't everyone want to see a Winnipeg versus Toronto final with two of the best teams go against each other?
Well,
I see no harm in it.
No, Toronto also wasn't the best team in the East, though. Washington was.
All right, I'm going on my phone. I'm going on my phone
now. I know Toronto and Winnipeg were top of their divisions anyway. So
yeah, that's what
Winnipeg was top of the league. Yeah.
Okay. And y'all betting against Winnipeg like that? Like, how can you throw shade at Papa Smokes' Winnipeg Jets like that? I don't know.
Okay, so the top of the Eastern Conference was Toronto.
No.
The top of the Western was Winnipeg. So to me, okay, so this is when this gets a little bit confusing why you do all of this crap, right? So to me, it should have been, right, the top two, who were the best? So in the top two...
What? No. Washington was the best.
I'm looking at the wrong bit. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You are right. So Washington... All right, then. So then it should be Washington versus Winnipeg. Right? That would make...
When the best of 7 series is to get there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So ignore the best of 7 series. Right. Ignore the round 1, round 2, all of that. In my opinion, if you've got that many teams, you would go straight to who was the top of the West, who was the top of the East. They both face each other to see who's the greatest of all time. Right. Who's the greatest in North America to win the Stanley Cup? Okay, because that's where you've got 2 leagues with the same purpose. And then the bottom one should be relegated. But hey ho, that's a whole different type of story here. But you're not going to get that because Washington could, because they're 2-1 down at the moment, could lose. Which will then mean that the best team Like Winnipeg will have an easier if they win that series and Washington go out, and then say Toronto go out. Winnipeg have the easiest route to win the whole Stanley Cup, then, right?
I mean, by your argument, sure,
theory,
but
in theory, yes.
Stanley Cup never winds up that way, though.
In theory, communism works. So, in
Oh,
theory,
dear bloody God, we're going somewhere else here.
Championships could be champions. It's at theory. Theory is great, but reality sometimes kicks people in the teeth. In that theory, Winnipeg should have walked over St. Louis and took them out 4-0 in their.
They just wanted to have the miracle on ice so that when they win the Stanley Cup, they can talk about this miraculous way to the cup they did. I mean, they're writing it like a Disney movie. They're prepping themselves. It's going to be magical. No, I mean, again, here's the positive. And again,
I'm fine with
Here's
it.
the positive.
If Toronto wins, I'll be very, very, very depressed.
I don't have a problem with Toronto winning as long as it's not an American team. As long as Winnipeg and Edmonton go on to the Western Conference final, Toronto can play whoever. Toronto and either Winnipeg or Edmonton in the final sounds perfect to me. I mean, I as a Canadian, I'm going to cheer for the Canadian teams. I don't even care if it's the most disliked Canadian team in Canada. I'm still going to cheer for them over the American teams because I'm from Canada. I root for Canada, and it's all about Canada. And quite frankly, as much as you guys hate Toronto, and I'm not a big Toronto supporter either, I'm going to root for them on that Eastern Conference side because there's no other Canadian Eastern Conference teams.
Okay, so also,
I physically cannot.
No,
because you physically force yourself to like the Montreal Canadiens. So
there's no forcing me. This
but to
is
be
my
fair,
team.
he was born into that. He was born into that, so that's fair. All right. I'm at the moment questioning.
People are born into poverty, but they fight their way out of it. So
Mark chose to jump on my band.
Jesus Christ! I've just gone on to what you said. Jesus, Mary, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh God! Also, by the way, I just googled Winnipeg haven't won a Stanley Cup before. I just googled it. They've never won it. Okay. So Andre, I'm going to test your knowledge.
Never win one.
I'm also going to test your knowledge as well. Who else hasn't won a Stanley Cup in there? Because I'm going to Google it. I know Florida have.
Mm-hmm. Washington has.
What? Dallas hockey.
Dallas has. Colorado has.
Oh no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
you are.
She's on my side. Hey, she's back on my side. Yes, she's back on my side.
Dallas have won a Stanley Cup. They won it in 1998-1999 season. It's the only time that they've won the Stanley Cup.
And you're just talking teams that are left, or teams that
are left. Teams that are left.
Yeah, Carolina did, right? Is Carolina one?
No, Carolina has. Carolina beat Edmonton 6.
Edmonton have won it 5 times.
Yeah, Edmonton's quite a bit.
Last time Toronto won it was 1967. Florida won it last year. Washington won it a few years back. Carolina won it in 2006. Edmonton won it last in, I think, the late 80s, early 90s. Vegas won it a couple of years ago. Dallas won it, like you said, in the 98-99 season, and Winnipeg is the only one left that has not won a cup.
Unless we go with STG's comment where he says, except the Leafs won in 1967, but who gives a shit because there was only 5 teams in the league at the time.
Actually, there was more. I think there was 10 to 12 at that point.
So the Leafs have won it 13 times, and the last time that they won it was 1966.
67.
66, 67. Yeah, that was the time. The last time the Leafs won it.
But if you're going by thing, the last time that both Boston and Philadelphia both missed the playoffs in the same year was 1967. So it's by history, technically Toronto should be winning the cup this year if it all holds plays. But
the Vegas Golden Knights won it once in 2022-2023 season. Liverpool beating Arsenal 2-0. Also, Washington. What are they called? Washington.
The Capitals.
Capitals.
I don't know. Their logo's different on my screen compared to that one.
They have like 4 or
Washington
5
have
logos.
won it. Washington have it once. They've won it once in 2017 season, 2018 season. And who's that last team there? The one
Which
who's
one?
playing
Bay?
Washington.
Carolina.
Carolina. They won in 06.
Carolina Hurricanes, yeah?
Yeah, they beat Edmonton in 06. That one I know because
Yes, so they've won one
yeah.
Stanley Cup, which was the 2005-2006 season. So the only team in the final 4 that haven't won the Stanley Cup is Winnipeg Jets. But the issue is I won't be calling them Jets because I'm actually rooting for them to win it and I fucking hate the Jets. New York Jets. So I refuse to say Jets, so I'm going to call them Winnipeg and that's it.
Just call them
Just call them
Peggers or
Peggers.
Yeah,
Peggers.
Peggers. Winnipeg Fat Boys works too. That's a type of sandwich out there. So Winnipeg Fat Boy sandwich, very
just call them
notorious out in Winnipeg.
It's the Peggers. It's simply the Peggers. It's easy. Or backwoods people. The backwoods people could be called.
Okay.
That, maybe?
So this is another question I have for everyone here. If you could pick one team right now to win the whole thing with how people have played so far, who are you picking to win?
I'm
Edmonton.
still sticking with Winnipeg.
So you're going Edmonton, you're going Winnipeg. Chat, who are you going for? I want to see who they go for. Because I think I said that, I don't even know. I said the Leafs would, hold on, it's Toronto and Edmonton that they think's going to win it.
Oh, actually, Jesus,
Edmonton.
Capitals.
There's a couple of Edmontons in here. Are they that good?
They're the ones that lost to Florida last year in the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, so they've got more. What was it? What would you say? What do North America? They got more juice to win it this year. Fucking
they have them, but if you go by wrestling parlance, they got their momentum. They have the momentum.
Yeah. What is it that you Americans in North? They've got the spunk to win this. Not spunk the way that I think about it, but the
they're like the 49ers. They show up for the playoffs.
The 49ers didn't even do that this year.
You know, true.
They do have the best player in the league. We can go.
Who's that? Gretzky.
No, McDavid.
No, McJesus. McJesus.
Okay, so, right. Gretzky. Okay, he's the greatest of all time, right? I because that's the only name I know. All right, but
he
then
just
there
had
was
his
someone.
record beat. His record.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Someone's had his record, but I don't. Why don't we know about this person?
One.
Yeah, one. True.
Alexander
it was only
Ovechkin?
one. Yeah.
Alexander Ovechkin?
Who's
the greatest Russian hockey player of all time? Plays for the Washington Capitals?
You're saying names to me that I have no. So what record did he break?
He broke Gretzky's goal scoring record. But Gretzky still has most overall points and assists by a long motherfucking margin that nobody will ever touch. I don't care. Nobody will ever touch his points. Nobody ever touch his assists. So, still the greatest. He's still the greatest. I still say Gretzky is still the overall greatest hockey player of all time. I appreciate other players more than him. Like if you look at literally like of his era, he's the greatest, and still I would still put him above pretty much anybody playing today. But it's hard to compare him to guys from the 50s and the 60s because again, very different hockey game at that point too, right? So. But yeah, I would say greatest of all time.
So Gretzky is still the greatest of all time.
I would say so, yeah.
And this Russian bloke. Yes, Mark, I'm revealing my hockey knowledge. Right. Okay. So this Russian
is an
bloke...
educational show. This is an educational show.
Yeah.
Because I need to understand this. Because we're going to be doing this, so I want to. And we've also set up the what is it called?
Fantasy football?
Fantasy football. Have you sent that to STG?
I did. He still hasn't joined. I keep messaging him saying, hey, I've sent it to him like twice now.
STG,
join
sort your shit out.
Goddamn fantasy.
Okay, so everyone in so far is saying it's going to between Edmonton and Toronto, who are going to be in the final. So that's who everyone's pick is for that.
No.
Hold on.
Edmonton, Florida, rematch. Edmonton, Florida.
Right. I've got another dumbass question. I've got another. What's the okay, points. What the fuck is that for a player?
Okay, so
Is
in hockey, you also get points for an assist. Like if you're the guy to pass the puck to the guy that scores, you get a point for you don't get a point obviously on the board, but on your total you get the amount of assists you had in your career. Gretzky has the most amount of assists in his career. He's far greater for setting people up to score than he was for actually scoring himself. Well, being one of the greatest scorers of all time, he was one of the greatest person to ever set people up to score. So,
Bobby,
that is calculated in hockey.
Yeah.
Can you put this in football terms that I understand? Put it in football terms. Because I slightly understand, but I don't get by the points. I still doesn't make so. When in football, when you get an assist, you get an assist. All right, you don't get a point, you get an assist, and it goes on your tally for how many assists you get. Right?
I think
Essentially,
it's the same.
It's the same thing. They just then they have they overall just and then in under NHL records
they just tally career stats.
points. Yeah,
it's no different from any
call
football
your
player.
Overall points, your assists, and your goals added together.
Yeah. It'd be the same as going like this person so and so has this many career assists across their entire career, or this many assists when they played for one specific club, or it's mostly just a tally of what they've done, goals, assists, and stuff. And Gretzky, hands down,
basically Gretzky's Alan Shearer.
Yeah, that's
so. If we're going to go like Gretzky's Alan Shearer, right, and then you've got the new guy that's got it. It's like the Henry or Aguero, like the number 2 to Shearer.
Yeah, someone who came around and put behind the goal scoring record kind of thing. So kind of like Harry Kane would have done had he stuck around the Premier League.
Would it be a debate like Gretzky versus how do you pronounce that guy's name?
Ovechkin.
Okay. Would you say Gretzky and Ovechkin would be like the Messi Ronaldo debate or the LeBron James Michael Jordan debate? Is it that type of thing for hockey?
I don't think Ovechkin's quite on that.
No.
I think Ovechkin would have to be better overall stats in like the goals, sure. If you were just going based on goals between Ronaldo and Messi, maybe. But even like who would have more there? Like Messi probably scored more overall goals than Ronaldo, at least at the beginning, because Ronaldo kind of played as a winger to begin with, right? So like you can make that argument.
Ronaldo now has more goals than Messi.
Well, it's because he went to a league where you can
score
by
Messi.
blowing
He's
into the wing.
MLS.
Well, he's also 100 years old. But...
True, but they're nearly the same age. And also as well, Alan Shearer's most points in EPL. No, he hasn't got the most points he's made. He's the highest goal scorer of all time. That is Alan Shearer. Hurricane win the title. Yes, he won the Bundesliga, his first major trophy ever. He's won it at Bayern Munich, which I'm very happy for as well. But Ovechkin is known as a goal scorer overall, not a total. Okay, so he's not.
If you're gonna make that comparison, I would put Gretzky versus McDavid, because McDavid is an overall player. He can score, but his numbers far more dictate that he sets guys up better. He's a great scorer, but he's also he's a great setup man. Where Ovechkin is not a great setup guy. McDavid plays great defense when he has to come back. He's a great defender in the zone when he has to come back. So I would put, if you're gonna make that comparison, I'm gonna put McDavid there over anybody else at this point.
And McDavid's got time on his side. Time is on McDavid's side.
I think he's 28 now. He's still got at least another 10 years in the sport. At least.
I just want to go back to this one as well. I will bash the MLS. It's very easy to do so because of your stupid rules and the stupid rules that are. But Alphonso Davies is one, and then you've also got the youngster from, I want to say Philly or New York. I can't remember where he is, but he's off to Manchester City in the summer. He's 16. He's going to be playing for Manchester City, and Pep already wants him in the first team. Fucking ridiculous over there. But if you produce, I will give credit. Okay, right. I'm going to make a strong ass statement here. Okay, I will give credit to the MLS on 2 factors. One, that you produce really good youngsters. Okay, you've got to be producing youngsters yourselves. And 2, you sort out your stupid end of season points and your stupid cups and all that crap. I've managed the MLS on Football Manager. It's fucking horrific to do. But I will give, if MLS, they won't get better under Pochettino. I will say this now. The women will get better under Emma Hayes, but they will not get better, the national team, under Pochettino, because Pochettino is a shit manager. And you've heard it here first. Can't stand him. Overrated. Overhyped. Everything about him's wrong. But MLS, and also you got to remember, you saying he moved from Vancouver. I'm not giving America any credit for that whatsoever to Bayern Munich. I'm giving Canada and Vancouver all of the credit to that. Because that's not, you think, right, the only product that's lasted outside of America that's done well and who's put up the numbers is Christian Pulisic. Right? That's it.
That's too big.
No. It's America. It's Canada. But I would only give Canada a good thing with the MLS on that one. But Christian Pulisic, American fans need to chill. I saw a video the other day where he was doing really well for AC Milan, who've had a horrific season. And one of them said, oh, yeah, he's probably one of the greatest players in Europe. What? No, not even in the top 20, you dumbasses. But anyway, yeah, that's my rant over about the MLS.
Yeah, but you're asking a bunch of people that think that they see England and that's Europe only. Like, there's this construed concept of what Europe actually is.
Yeah, and do you know what really annoys me as well? When Americans and they put on, we went, they do like a vlog, or we went to Europe. It's a big fucking place. What part of fucking Europe did you go to, you dickheads?
Yeah.
That's what irritates me.
What about your European vacation? We were in Italy the entire time.
That's like, yes, okay, you in Europe, cool. Italy, just say you're in Italy, you dickheads.
Yeah,
that's it. Anyway, it's my rant over about what I see online on my highlight my reels, which is annoying.
Yeah,
Americans don't know their own state capitals. It actually it's so true. It's mental. I love that.
It's true.
They also wanted another state, which is never going to happen. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so there could be more they don't know how to learn about.
Also, I feel sorry for the Pope now, the new Pope. He's American, and you got all the Americans going, yay, we've got an American Pope. And he's like, I haven't lived in your country for about 40 years, and I despise everything your country's become. He literally has come out and said he despises what America's come. I fucking love it, and you've got all the Americans coming out loving it.
The best been watching are the ones where people are editing CM Punk's music and showing the Pope walking.
I've seen that.
The punk face over the Pope. I love the punk face over the Pope. I love it so much.
It makes me laugh. He was born in Chicago, Illinois, and then he was raised up until a certain age, and then moved to Peru. For 20 years, he lived in Peru. He has a dual nationalship with Peru and America. He then moved to the Vatican when the new Pope came over. By the way, you can tell by how much research I've been doing. And I've also watched Conclave this week because I wanted to know how they did it. Great film, by the way, if you haven't watched it. But yeah, anyway, back to it. And then he moved to the Vatican when the new Pope, who's now dead, where he was in there to become security, and then he has the same views, which is the complete opposite views of Trump. And you've got MAGA supporters that are loving it. And I'm loving this. I can't wait for the downfall of America with this new Pope. It's going to be fucking brilliant. Anyway.
All right.
Put that short.
any last quick fires here before we head off the air, guys? We're good?
Please go and check Andre's apology speech at the beginning of the show. Thank you.
Yeah, he's going to be making an apology speech for Toronto by next week.
Oh, yeah.
We need to do a quick update because we need to talk about free last weekend. My boy, Oscar Piastri, still winning out this shit. He is the number one driver in F1 right now. Let's go. McLaren, baby. Loving it.
I am very worried for Norris. Very worried for Norris.
Dude,
if he cannot... If he does not get over that hump of trying to overtake Max Verstappen, he is going to struggle for the rest of the season. Also, if you haven't seen it already, the most entertaining factor of Miami Grand Prix was the radio calls between Ferrari and the drivers. If you haven't seen it, there was a different tyre strategy. Ferrari put Sir Lewis Hamilton, on the different tyres going into the final stretch, which Ferrari should have swapped drivers about 5 laps earlier so that they could use the fresher tyres and the tyre that was on there better to close down nearer the end, which then they didn't make a decision for 4 laps, which then Hamilton said, "What are you doing, making a cup of tea while you're trying to make a decision on this?" Top A sarcasm. Then got overtaken and then overtakes Leclerc, which then he could not catch up because they already ruined his tyres. And then lets Leclerc through. The mechanic comes out and says 1.4, Sainz is behind you. And Lewis comes back with the quickest comeback of the season so far. What do you want me to do? Let him overtake as well? I went, we're in the era of Lewis being sarcastic, and I'm loving it. But no, Ferrari are in deep shit. There is already papers talking how unhappy they are. I'm going to give it to you. Hello. I'm going to give it to you if you don't understand Formula One. Ferrari, there are 3 religions in Italy. You've got the Christian, you got Catholic, you got Ferrari. And I'm not even joking. They are religions
that is
in
very
Italy.
true. Yep.
This is not, and I'm not underestimating this, nothing. It is a religion in Italy, right? If they don't win a race at this precise moment, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton are so high up on a pedestal, right? Charles Leclerc has a face of him as Jesus, and it goes around the world with the Ferrari fan. That's how they think of Leclerc, as Jesus. You've got Lewis Hamilton, who's above him as God at the moment. If Ferrari, we've got a triple header coming up next week, starting next week, where one of the races is in Italy. If they don't do well in Italy, I feel sorry for anyone that works there, because they will be under so much pressure.
It's going to be heads rolling if they perform. And it's not like they're performing badly, but they're just not top 5 finish. Like they're not making top 5 finishes. And again, Lewis Hamilton, the greatest driver of all time. I don't think anybody could ever. As much as I've shit on him in the past, I made my jokes at you. I recognize he's the greatest driver, at least of this past 30 years, 20 to 30 years. Greatest driver. Yeah, again, he's the GOAT. And he's sitting in 7th. He should be in the top 3 or 4 contenders right now.
The thing that I don't understand is how the hell are they being outperformed by the Red Bull? Right, Max Verstappen's got that car on lock, and he does really well with it. Fair enough. But they should be, after the way that they ended the season last year, second best car on the grid by far. But then I think I was watching this thing the other day. Ted Kravitz, who does Formula One over in the UK for Sky, and they have a YouTube channel, Sky F1, and they do a review. And apparently, they changed some of this car spec from what they had at the end of last season, which they don't understand why they did that. They got a new head of design, and he thought that this was going to be quicker than what he actually did, and it wasn't. So they've got 3 upgrades that are coming, and one of them's coming in Italy, and I think another one's coming in Barcelona, coming upgrades to the car. If they are not challenging, I wouldn't say McLaren, if they're not challenging Max Verstappen, then they need to give up the car this year and do their full focus on the 2026 car. But I also want to give a shout out to James Vowles. By the way, if you don't know who James Vowles is, go and have a look at a picture of that gorgeous man. He is the head of Williams Racing, and he turned around when he first got the job 2 years ago and said that 2025 you will see the benefit of the car that we're going to be making, and they have already got top 10 finishes every race so far this season.
5th place in constructors.
Yeah,
they have been at the bottom of the constructors since for a decade and a half.
Over a decade,
and they are 5th right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. James Vowles, and they've also very, very optimistic for 2026, where it is being said that the tests so far that the Mercedes engine is going to be the best engine on the grid. So they are doing it. And I want to give a shout out to Kimi Antonelli as well, who did an absolutely incredible job in the sprint qualifying to get up there. Then the incident happened with Verstappen and couldn't get it on, and also did excellently well in the race as well for 18 years of age, doing a brilliant job. I also want to say as well that it has been reported that the American company Cadillac, that are apparently going to be sponsored by Kit Kat, are going to be called Kit Kat Cadillac. And if no one, I mean no one, makes the joke, Kit Kat Cadillac, get a dog a bone, I'm going to lose my mind if no one makes that joke, because someone has to. But it's also been reported that Sergio Perez is the driver that is going to be one of the drivers that is going to be coming back to Formula One under it. It's also being reported as well, for NASCAR friends out there, that Daniel Ricciardo has signed a contract to be in NASCAR. So it is going to be interesting to see what they do from there. But
Checo, Kit Kat Checo.
If their car is not red with a big Kit Kat sign and it breaks halfway down the middle, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. It has to. If it crashes, it has to split in half through the middle. That's it.
There has to be a Kit Kat variation, but it's CH instead of the K for Checo, and with Checo's face on it, like Chit Chat Checo.
Yeah.
There has to be.
So
there has to be.
Because apparently Cadillac, I'm going to give it help Bobby out with this one here. Atletico Bilbao can only sign players from the Basque countries, the top right of Spain and the bottom of France. Well, Cadillac are doing the same thing, where they can only sign American drivers. One of them has to be an American driver. Now, I'm going to be
North American too.
Yeah, they need to do. Probably Mexican, get Latifi back. Or get Lance Stroll. Just fucking get him away. Also, Lance Stroll has now got the record still for most amount of driving, starting races without getting a podium. Love it. What a twat.
Go Canada! Go Canada! Woo! He's
Lance Stroll deserves to crash and never race again. But yeah, Cadillac, and I'm going to be respectful when I say this to Americans. You only know how to go left. Yeah. Learn how to go right as well, please. You've got a big fucking country. You could probably get a few of them that can turn right as well. So I'm interested to see what they do. There's not that many around there.
Ricciardo should win every NASCAR race that he drives, because he's both directions, so he should be able to drive left better than anybody.
Yeah, you can go, and then some of the NASCAR, they've got an actual track, haven't they? And where they can go left and right. So I do hope.
I don't know.
So I do hope that. I really hope, for Ricciardo's sake, he goes to NASCAR and absolutely dominates it. I really do hope for his sake that he does do that.
I hope for Basser's sake he goes back to the beginning of this program and watches Andre's apology speech.
Please go and watch it.
Go watch it,
I beg you.
I
beg you, Bobby, to make that into a short. I beg you to make that into a short. That needs to be seen worldwide.
Even though we're not sponsored by them, I am now using Nexus clips for shorts, which makes them look a lot more professional. So we'll see what they suggest, see if it comes up, and maybe I'll tell them otherwise that we just need it anyway. But with that said, gentlemen, anything else to add before we go to the tickers? Okay, decision made. It's ticker time. Andre, why don't you tell the wonderful people where they can find you and what's coming up this week?
You can find me on the X and Blue Sky at that Canada. You can find me, or you can add me on TikTok, but I won't respond to you because I'm never on there. Instagram and Threads at that Canada dude. I don't have anything to apologize for this week. That apology is good for a while.
Find something.
I didn't say any. I wasn't offensive. This Wednesday. The Rebound returns. Marvel Talks MC Rebound is back, as me and Ed are coming back to talk my least favorite movie in Phase 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Well, still a good movie. It's my least favorite movie, Phase 3. Yes.
That's one of my favorites.
I like Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like Ant-Man and the Wasp better than that.
Are you dumb?
I'm with them on that. I'm with them on that.
I find Guardians
which one's 2?
Mile. Exactly. That's exactly the problem. Which one's 2? That's why. because everybody forgets about 2. Anyway.
I'm sorry. The whole like they just it is so much downtime in that movie in Guardians 2, and me and Ed will talk about it on Wednesday. But there's so much downtime. It's still a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just so much extra bullshit in there. It didn't need to be there.
Agreed.
Was this the one when Hemsworth first turned up?
No, this is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Has Kurt Russell in it as Ego.
Yeah, I don't know. No. I am Googling.
No,
I'm currently on
Hemsworth
Disney Plus as we talk.
In 4. Yeah.
Carry on.
Hemsworth appears in he's with them in Ragnarok and in the Avengers Infinity War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is my stuff in Spanish? Am I Spanish now?
Well, Mark, before you give your
Yes.
event for the week here, I just want to make a note that it was just put into our Discord by Sean Ross Saff. PW Insider also reporting that Sabu has just passed away at the age of 60. So wrestling legend Sabu has passed away at the age of 60.
What? He was just wrestling at GCW the other week.
He has passed away. 60 years old.
No way.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Hello, Astrid. Thank you for dropping by. No, it's legit. It's sadly legit. So. But Mark, what do you got coming up this week? Where can people find you?
I don't know. Football Manager is starting this week, carrying on with the South Shields. I don't even know where I am on the South Shield special at the moment because I've recorded so far in advance at the moment that I'm still trying to work out. I know that we had a SmackDown special last night when we had the final qualifiers for Money in the Bank happening on WWE 2K25, building up to Money in the Bank. I have already recorded Money in the Bank, and I cannot just say that is the best PLE for a week that we've booked. We have a special surprise coming in Money in the Bank week as well. Lauren gets a new a special assistant, and he will be making his way over to us very, very soon as well with that. But we're coming to the end of the South Shields as well on Mark Talks Football, where we were going to be trying to win the Premier League. If we win the Premier League, it's the end of the series going into something new. So me and Bobby have already discussed that Bobby will be staying around for the new series. And we have recorded something in advance.
MLS!
So, no, I've already done that. I've done it already. It's on the channel. Go and check it out. I conquered it. Fucking nailed it on the MLS.
Brazil!
I've done that.
You already did that too.
Yeah, I've done that one.
Too.
But this one is...
You'll just have to wait.
Yeah, it is very much of I start with literally nothing.
League Two!
No, we're going
lower
abroad.
than League Two.
Yeah, we started much lower with South Shields in League Two. But we're going abroad with literally no money, no nothing. The only thing that we've got is no coaching badges and a club that could give us a chance. And I will say, please watch the episodes because I've recorded some of it for future. I wanted to start it off to get things ready for the future, and it's mental. So make sure you go check that out. But apart from that, Bobby,
what have you got
coming up?
I want to F1, Mark.
What have I got coming up? Down below is my ticker. That's where you can find me on all social media. Thursday night, I will be back with Papa Spokes on Ring Respect Radio. We're taking another trip through the territories. This time, one of the more modern territories and one of the last remaining ones. A little one known as Smoky Mountain Wrestling is the topic for this Thursday night. You're then going to be able to join me next Sunday with these two gentlemen right here for another edition of Point of View. And over on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel, you can catch me and Papa Spokes every Saturday with a new match, calling all the action. Well, at least while we still have some matches, because we're getting to that point where I'm running out of stuff in the vault. So we'll have to come up with new content for you guys. But either way, we got you covered every Saturday afternoon on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel. But you can also find a lot of great content right here at our local establishment, OLE Podcast, across all social media, as well as YouTube and Twitch. I said it earlier in the show, we are doing well with the subs. We want to keep the subs going, but we need watch hours as well. So if you're currently watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching on replay, thank you. But I encourage you to be able to take the time, hit a playlist up, play it in the background, whatever you got to do to help us get those hours up. We are very, very close to that first stage of monetization, which will allow us to allow super chats, all sorts of things like that. We are getting very near it. So please help us out. We are dying to get there. And with your help, we can do that. But that's going to be it for this week of Point of View. Join us next Sunday for more of your favorite weekly sports show. Take care, everybody.